Well, the core of the gameplay loop is very similar, but you know, my idea of making any sequel is about carrying the heart of the game, but also having it being a game of its own. So it has its own vibe, its own priorities. Some things have changed, and it moved more into the higher scale cartel organizing all over the big island. Because the scale of the operation is big, you have NPC employees as well, and things like that. So it's much more evolved, complex, and bigger than the first part. But the core gameplay, core feel is mostly the same with its own vibe. Yes, there are actually a few kinds of enemies. There's local thugs who are like bandits from different groups that are more or less active in different areas. The difficulty of the enemies rises further into the island, so the first areas are more safe and have some time to adapt the game mechanics, all of that. And further into the island, when you get into the bigger towns, more complex locations and things like that, more enemies show up. There are some local police. They're easier to deal with, not easier than the thugs, but easier than the militia, because the militia, it's a military force of the dictator in the lore that owns the island that you're on, and they're really tough, really hard, and they're more like an enemy from mid to late game. So there are a couple types of enemies with different features. So yeah, surely. There is more action. There is melee combat with the thugs, with the police and the militia. The raid system is more complex. We will be showcasing the raids and the melee combat probably soon, as we're actually polishing it right now. So it's really exciting. There's much more action than in the first release, but we want to keep it flexible, so the player can decide if he wants to face the enemies more head on and have more of the action of the combat, or does he want to be low profile, sneaky, and try to avoid danger as much as possible. The hideouts are different. They have different locations and properties. It's easier, like, to hide your operation in hideouts that are more remote, in villages, in the jungles or things like that. But there are also like hideouts that are in the middle of the city and are more on the front, let's say, and are more risky, but are easier because they are closer to the main areas of operations, right? It has a main storyline that kind of drags you further into expansion and like unlocking some few new NPCs, finishing the story and all that. But the story isn't directly like bound to the gameplay. You can on the way, like on the beginning you have the introduction to the mechanics, the basics, all that stuff. Then you have basically tasks that lead you to expanding your mechanics and technology and things like that. You have tasks that lead to progressing into the story. You can pick one or the other and decide how do you want to go along. How exactly, how long do you want to keep in one area or the other? How do you want to expand? Which areas are more like important for you? You can deal with one or two drugs. You can use all the drugs that the game gives you. So there's a lot flexibility into how people want to approach it, and we don't want to like force that the story is the main, like the core, and you have to go along with it, right? Yes, you can. Yes, it's disabled. It's disabled in the demo because we had some few issues with it and we didn't have it fully polished yet. But yes, you can use drugs, and not only drugs, because we introduce also other usables like I don't know, alcohol, medical supplies, because you have melee combats, you have to cure yourself, you have some statuses like bleedings, you can get bit by a snake. So medicines for that. You have in the jungle areas, in some places you can get bitten or stuff like that. Yeah, and drugs will be used, that they will affect your stats, your abilities. I don't know, also like how fast you move, how more you can carry, and other things like that. Yeah. Well, it's if I remember correctly, it's like 16, 18 times larger in area general than the first map. A lot of it's hard to exactly calculate, because a lot of it is also water, rivers, like the ocean and all of that. There's some wild areas, jungles, beaches and stuff like that. So it's not exactly like GTA, you know, everywhere is towns and everything like that, but it's a really large map. You don't have to play on all of it. You can prioritize, like say, oh, I don't like this area, so I don't care. I'm only going to sell here and here, and focus my operations on this area. But you have the flexibility, and especially if you play in co-op, look have 3 players. For instance, you have a lot of areas to cover, so you can try to like dominate the entire map. Yeah. That's the idea for now. I'm not sure if we want to expand it for more. I think that 4 is a possibility. That's how we want to design it for now. As 3 players is like the balance sweet spot, that we can kind of balance the game to be not too easy and not too hard, both for 2 and 3 players or for single player. A single player is still like a basic option and stuff like that. Technically, it's possible to add more players, but also more players is more complexity on network traffic and hosting the game. More data has to be sent in and out, so it gets harder to optimize the game so everyone can smoothly enjoy it. Two or 3 people, I'm not exactly sure. It all depends on what you prefer, how you want to play, right? But really, I think that co-op brings it to another level. It's really great, like the sharing task. Like, look, I am gonna like go to the shop and get this and produce some more of the dope or anything else, and in the meantime you go to attend the clients or gather cash from the dealers or stuff like that. Like helping each other out in some stressful situations or whatever. That really adds another level of fun for me, at least. I like this. So it's more fun in co-op, but it will also be fun in single player, and in the full game we also want to add a few, let's say, balancing options for smaller parties and single player, that will allow single player gameplay to be like a little bit boosted, so it can catch up with the dynamics of the progress in co-op. So we're still working on it, so it can be like enjoyable for any size of the party. You know, first of all, I wanted this game to introduce something more than the first part was able to, and like it would be very hard to make it technically on the first part, because the first part has its architectural, let's say, issues of different kinds, and it's a live game, so developing and changing stuff on live games where people have save games, a lot of that is far more complicated. So we decided that the second part can have its own like vibe or its own character and introduce something new to the IP. It's a successful IP, so we wanted to add a new position to it, gain more like people into the community and things like that. Yes. No, we have a larger budget. It's not a large budget from the general, let's say, game dev standards perspective, but it's a lot larger than the first part. I also hired a few more people, so the team is bigger and we have more flexibility because we don't have to cut every edge everywhere. We still have limits. We still have to simplify some things and how we make stuff, so we can focus more on adding content and making awesome features and gameplay instead of some super fireworks and things like that. Generally, in larger scale, more experience, higher budget, and a few more people to help and with their skills and with their ideas as well. There's me and two full-time employees, three actually now, because for a couple of months back we took a 3D designer for full-time, and also a couple of part-time people from sound design, music, UI design, and voice actors and other contractors like that. So the core team is like 3 to 5 people, let's say, part-time or full-time, and a couple of other contractors and corporations. Yeah. Not sure on that yet. For now, we are fully focused on just making the core game, and we don't have plans yet for additions, DLCs, or next sequels. We'll just see about that, how this adapts, how people like the formula, and what they think is lacking in the full game, and so on. And maybe we'll think about the future then. But for now, we just want to deliver the full, ready, closed game as the core base game, and then we'll see. Yes, surely. It's a lot of the things that people wanted to be added or changed in the first part are in the sequel. I'm not fully prepared to list them out. As I remember well, they also saw that a lot of quality of life improvements that they expected and wanted to be changed or added. So yes, we kind of took this combination of what the community often requested and what we wanted the sequel to be. Because if some of the ideas, like the shooting or something, do not fit what we want this game to be, actually, then we don't improve it. But with don't improve it, don't add these requests and features. But a lot of the ideas that the community have are actually good ideas that do improve the game and do not interfere with our vision of it or make the gameplay worse or anything like that. So yeah, things like that we like to add, and a lot of them are added to the game. Yes, I think we will. I mean, we last a few months we were really busy, so we didn't really have time. But we earlier we played often with the some members of the community that participate in the closed alpha testing of the game. So we could experience the gameplay with them, see how they approach things, what strategies do they utilize on the island. So this can give us some thoughts, because when we know the game all across the board, and we have our own ways of playing it, that's only the one way we see, and the one way of playing that we find issues with, or see like ideas for improvements or things like that. And when we play with other people, it gives a lot more feedback for us. And yes, I think that when the game releases, we will be also making some kind of play sessions that will play with other members of the community. Yes, that's also always fun and cool content, right? No. We don't want to add PvP. First of all, there's a ton of PvP games out there, and we really like to focus on the approach of you cooperating with players. PvP would have to also would complicate the development in different ways, and also PvP wise. It complicates the development from the side of cheat protection, server client side solutions. Like here, I can like easily keep some of the stuff kind of open for hacking, but making the gameplay smoother, less lag, less like network problems for hosting. In PvP, you have it's very much more strict, and there are more problems with ping, like latency affects the gameplay, right, more because you're competing with the other players, and it's first off it's a lot of issues and a lot of more complication from the technical development side, and the other side we want to focus on making PvE games for people to cooperate against the game, against the environment, instead of competing between each other, as there are a ton of competition PvP games out there, and go free and play them. That's not what we want to do. I'm not sure if I have like specific things. There are some like Easter eggs and things that we want to, or already added to the game in central places. There are some mechanics and like that everyone will basically experience, and we are waiting eagerly to see how people like it, like the hideout raids and fighting the enemies and the militia and all of that. So yeah, there's a lot of the small things that I would find that would be excited to see people react to and find, but no like specific hidden experiences or something that come to mind. Not really. I mean, we were more worried with the first part. Like, this is in this context, it's more of the same. So I don't see it having more controversy. Maybe having more range, or some more other people can add to the discussion and have some issues with it. But you know, that's the subject we chose. That's the risks we took having it. But there are still a lot of people that like that the game touches this subject and isn't afraid of it. So you know, it has its ups and downs. So no, I don't have any specific fears. There is also always some risk, publishing risk, like, you know, I don't know, Steam changing its mind, or on games promoting drugs and things like that, and they can cause some issues, or give us a higher rating, or something like that. But that's something that we agreed upon when we generally had the idea to make this IP in the first place. So nothing new came up, no new fears with the sequel than earlier.